Hi, my name's Natasha. I'm the St Peter's intern, and I'd like to talk to you today about Matthew chapter 7, verse 7, which says this: "Ask and it will be given to you, seek and you will find, knock and the door will be opened to you." And I've chosen this verse partly because it's an important verse to me personally. It's actually part of the reason why I became a Christian. I was chatting to this Christian guy about God, and basically my point was, well, if there was a God, it would be surely so obvious we would all already know about it. So the fact that we even have to have this conversation about is there or isn't there surely means that the answer is no. And he quoted this verse. And I knew it because it had been part of the lyrics of a song that I'd sung in primary school assembly, so I'd heard it before. And he just said, well, actually, Tasha, how much time have you spent asking and seeking and knocking and looking for God? And I had to be honest and go, well, probably not very much on balance. And he just suggested, well, why don't you try it? Why don't you try knocking on the door? Because if it's not true, then the door won't open, will it? The door doesn't even exist if it's not true. But if you knock on the door and it does open and it is true, surely that is worth knowing about. And that made sense to me. I thought, okay, that sounds fair. And so I gave it a go. I spent some time asking and seeking and knocking. And over a period of weeks and months, God opened the door and he showed up in my life in ways that I was not expecting. And I think sometimes we forget that actually it can be that simple. And sometimes we try and bargain with God and we go, oh, well, if I don't sin today, then maybe my prayers will be answered. Or if I go to church twice this month, then I can ask for that thing that I want. And I don't think God wants to be dealt with that way, because none of us do. None of us would appreciate people trying to bargain with us every time they wanted to have a conversation or ask us for anything. And I think we can find it difficult too, because in our personal lives, generally, I think a lot of us are really bad at asking for what it is that we want. We just sort of expect that our parents might magically know what it is that we would like from them, or our spouse, like, actually, yes, of course they should just know what I want. I shouldn't need to ask for that. Or obviously my boss knows that I want that promotion, despite the fact that I've never spoken to them about it. We can be really bad at actually just straight up asking for what it is that we want. So that is my challenge to you today, is to have a think about what it is that you would like. And it is a little bit different when we speak to God than when we speak to our partner or our family or our colleagues, because God does already know what it is that we would like. So I think when he tells us to ask, that's not for his benefit, is it? That's for our benefit. Actually, it's good for us to sit down and think about, well, what is it that I want? And then to ask for it, to articulate that. I think partly because it helps us be grateful when we do receive it. So my challenge to you is to sit and think about what it is and then just to ask for it. And it could be a really small thing. It could be tiny. Or it could be that massive thing that actually you've stopped praying about because it just seems too big and you don't feel like you've had an answer before. But I think we can take hope from these verses, especially because the passage continues. Which of you, if your child asks for a piece of bread, will give him a stone? Or if she asks for a fish, will you give her a snake? If you then know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good gifts to those who ask him? So I pray that you would ask, and I pray in faith that also you would receive.